Go, fight, win. The power of cheerleading. Cheerleading is a fun and exciting activity that involves cheering on sports teams and performing routines. Here are some common elements in cheerleading. Uniforms. Cheerleaders wear uniforms. The uniform usually includes a top, a skirt or pants, and shoes in the team's colors. Pom-poms. Pom-poms are a classic tool used by cheerleaders. They are fluffy balls that come in many colors. Cheerleaders often use pom-poms to add excitement to their cheers. Stunts. Cheerleaders perform stunts to show off their strength and agility. Stunts involve lifting, tossing, and catching other cheerleaders in the air. Chants and cheers. Cheerleaders use these to encourage their team and get the crowd excited. Chants are short, repeated phrases, while cheers are longer and more complex. Teamwork. Cheerleading is all about working as a team. Cheerleaders work together to perform stunts safely, create routines, and support each other. In cheerleading, these elements come together to create an exciting show.
Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
I'm Nikki.
And we are back here on day 2 of our look at cheerleading. Yay! Participating in cheering for your team with a group of other people, and you have different routines, right? Different kinds of cheers and movements, and you try to get the crowd, the people watching the game to be really excited, filled with passion and energy so that your team can feel that energy and they can use that in the game to score and win and do better than the other team.
You know what I also like about cheerleading?
What's that?
It's their uniforms.
The uniforms, that's true. It's a whole style, right?
Exactly, I really like them. It's cute. It's like,
yeah, I think they even call them like cheerleading skirts. You can wear them as just fashion. And I've seen whole stores just selling cheerleading stuff. Right? They do actually have those. So yeah, it's a whole different world, and it's actually a pretty serious sport on its own. I remember seeing it on TV here in Taiwan. They had big competitions. I guess they were either American high schools or universities, and they always seemed to do them at Disney World or Disneyland.
Disneyland?
Yeah, like they had a whole area of Disney where they had like the theater and the audience, and there'd be thousands of people there, probably family and friends cheering on their teams from different parts of America. It was, as serious as a sport as almost any other. So as we get to our article, we're going to learn more about cheerleading, not just how it started and the traditional idea of cheering on a team, but actually what cheerleaders do and how they've turned it into their own sport that they do against each other. So it says cheerleading is a fun and exciting activity that involves cheering on sports teams and performing routines. Absolutely, that's the basic description of cheerleading. You're cheering on, so that means you're cheering for. If your friend is in a competition, you're like, yeah, go, jayo, win, win, win. You're cheering on that person or that team. And if you're a cheerleader, you're doing it in a little more of a formal or a organized way. You're performing routines. Now, this is a very useful phrase that we use for a lot of different types of performances. To perform is basically to do something, all right? If you're engaging in an activity, you are performing that action or that activity. But generally, when we hear this word, the way we most commonly use it, it means you're doing something for a show, okay? So if you're on stage and people are watching you sing, dance, act, play music, you are performing for those people. So actors perform in a theater, musicians might perform in a concert hall. We can even actually say athletes perform, right? The soccer players perform on the field, the basketball players perform in the basketball arena.
Teachers perform on the stage.
Teachers perform on stage or perform in front of their students as well. You could also use it that way. But generally, it's for artistic things, shows, and things like that. For example, Marjorie's favorite singer has just announced that she will perform in Taipei next year. So she'll be doing a show in Taipei. Yeah, and we also learned that they perform routines. That's what the cheerleaders do. So a routine is basically an organized, planned set of actions, right? Your routine could be the things that you do every day in the same way. We often talk about my morning routine. I wake up, I wash my face, I eat some cereal or eat some fruit, and then I brush my teeth. And that's kind of the organized set of things you do one after another. Here, though, when we're talking about dancing or performing, this is kind of like what you plan to do, what you practice doing. When you see dancers and they're preparing for the show, they're kind of like, okay, then I'll turn and then we do 4 steps this way and then 4 steps that way. And they have to remember all this because when you get up to do the show, you're not just making it up as you go along. You're not just doing what you feel like. No, you're following this sort of program. You're following this planned set of steps and movements. Everyone knows it. Everyone does it at the same time. If you do your routine perfectly, it looks like all the dancers are kind of working with one brain. They're all kind of doing the same things at the same time, and it looks really cool. Wow, what a cool routine, we would say. So any kind of thing where you're doing a movement and it's organized and it's planned and other people are doing it at the same time, that's a good time to use this word routine, especially for dance or cheerleading or something like that. For the dance contest, we read here, Nadine's group will perform a 4-minute routine. So their show, their performance, their routine will be 4 minutes long.
那第2天我们一样要来更深入的了解有关啦啦队活动的内容。在这边我们看到第一个单字 involve 是动词，指的是包含、包括。那另外 perform 这个动词呢，指的是表演或者是演出。So for example, if you're going on stage to sing or dance, you're performing. You're giving a performance. 那 performance 它的名词指的是任何形式的表演。那另外还有 routine 这个名词在这里指的是一套固定的动作，也就是说像是跳舞啊，或者是固定的练习 ，a dance routine。那另外呢，还有另一个意思就是例行公事或者是惯例。For example, making a cup of coffee every day, every morning before work has become my daily routine. 是一件我每天都会做的事情。
All right, so here are some common elements in cheerleading. So once we start to look at cheerleading, we're going to break it down into some of the common elements or common parts that you will find that make up a good cheerleading routine. That's basically what an element is. When we take something with many different parts and we look at them kind of on their own, we can talk about these being elements of that bigger thing. For example, an interesting story is an important element in making a great movie. It's not the only thing you need. You need great actors, a good director. You probably need some money. The script would be the story. All sorts of different things. So if you have one thing, you might have an okay movie, but with all of these elements being great, wow, then you could have an amazing movie that wins awards. But you need all of those elements, all those different parts to work well together.
Element 是名词，指的是要素或是元素。An element is a part of something. 那最重点的部分，或是要素，我们会说 an important, a crucial element.
All right, so let's say we're trying to make the best cheerleading group and routine we can have. What will we need? Well, the first thing, clothes. Yeah, it's true. You don't want to have no clothes on when you're doing anything like this. But here we don't call them just clothes, we call them uniforms. Special clothes that everyone wears. They all look good together, they all match, and they all look like cheerleaders. Well, it says cheerleaders wear uniforms, cheerleader uniforms or cheerleading uniforms. The uniform usually includes a top, so a shirt of some kind, a skirt or pants. Generally the girls wear the skirts, the boys wear the pants, but that can change. And shoes, all in the team's colors. So if the team on the field or your school colors are red and white, you'll have mostly red and white on your uniforms. And this just makes everyone look like a nice organized group.
And your university's initials.
And the school's name or the initials or something on it too, of course.
那首先啦啦队其中一个要素就是他们的制服，通常会是一整套，而且是同个颜色的队服。那在这边我们看到今天的文法 ，Let's take a look. 在这里我们看到了今天的文法，指的是用的是 include 的用法。那当它是及物动词的时候，前面会是一个主词，加上 include， 包含，后面再加上一个名词当受词。那如果是 including 这个介系词，后面接的受词会是引出前面主词所描述的事物。那在这两句中间，我们要用逗号把它点开。例句 ：The wedding invitation includes information about the ceremony。所以这边是 includes 后面的名词 information about the ceremony, reception, and the dress code。那另外一个例句 ：The ticket price for the concert is $50, including taxes and fees。所以这边的 including 是介系词，然后前面才会是它用的名词。那最后呢是 included 过去分词当形容词的时候，意思会是包含在内的，或者是作为一部分的。这时候的 included 就会放在名词之后来修饰它。例句说，The admission fee to the museum is $650, guided tour included。所以 included 放在最后，前面的东西是包含的。
All right, so uniforms. Everyone needs a uniform. They should all look good and be the same color and all that. The next thing we need, pom-poms. Okay, of course, pom-poms are a classic tool used by cheerleaders. They are fluffy balls that come in many colors. In cheerleading, they hold them in their hands, right? Usually it's just the girls who do this. Right?
Yeah, because the guys would be a bit busy.
The guys will be busy carrying things or yelling out stuff or, throwing people around. So the cheerleaders are holding these pom-poms, these fluffy balls that come in many colors. Cheerleaders often use pom-poms to add excitement to their cheers. I think it attracts people's eyes, right, when they're waving them around. The other place you might find a pom-pom, which is kind of different but kind of the same, think of a winter hat with that fuzzy ball on the top. We would also call that a pom-pom. Same kind of thing, made of a different thing, different sizes, used in different ways, but any kind of ball with sort of stuff coming out of it, it's a pom-pom. I don't know why we call it pom-pom, but it's just a nice name. It's cute to say, yeah.
那除了穿制服之外呢，啦啦队员们还会使用彩球。那这些彩球被视为一种工具，通常有各式各样的颜色，而且还毛茸茸的。Fluffy 这个形容词指的是毛茸茸的。那像是绒毛玩具，我们就会称之为 fluffy toys.
All right, so now we have everyone looking like cheerleaders. We have to have them doing things that cheerleaders do, and that is where it gets more challenging and a little bit dangerous. Stunts. That's what we're going to do. Stunts. Cheerleaders perform stunts to show off their strength and agility. Sometimes it might just be jumping around, doing the splits, right? They have to do that thing where their legs go out if it's just the girls on the side of the field. Or if it's a big team, we have situations like with Nikki being put up on top of a giant tower of people, thrown in the air, jumping down, being caught by a bunch of people. This is what we mean by stunts. Dangerous activities that can be very impressive and make people go, wow, but also can, be very difficult and dangerous. And if you...
The most dangerous thing I've ever done is they swim me like a swing.
Swing you like a swing.
Yeah, and then I had to be like this and then...
Oh my God. And if you fall, if you don't do the stunt correctly, you can get hurt, right? I mean, I guess you could die, but just like an athlete on the field, you could fall, you could break legs, really bad things can happen. So it takes a lot of practice, skill, training, and strength. And when we talk about strength, we're talking about physical power. So muscle power, that kind of thing. If you go to the gym and you lift weights, you're trying to develop your strength, become stronger. All right. We can also talk about mental strength, right? If you have a very strong mind, if you never quit and that kind of idea. But here, of course, we're mostly talking about muscle power, leg power, back power, arm power, muscles and throwing and catching. It is all very tough on the body. For example, it takes great strength for that man to lift such a heavy stone. Absolutely. You need big muscles. You need strong muscles in order to lift heavy things or throw people in the air.
接着还有我们前一天有提到的特技，也是啦啦队表演中不可缺少的一项活动。Show off 是指的是呈现、展示，所以说这些特技啊，就是为了要展现出他们的力量。那力量 strength 是名词，指的就是力气啊，或是力量。It's a physical power that makes you strong， 或是也可以是你的强项。So the opposite of strength would be weakness. 那最后我们看到 agility 这个名词指的是敏捷性或是灵敏性，也就是说这些特技除了要展现你的力量之外，也要呈现出啦啦队员们的敏捷性。
All right, so as we were talking about, these stunts that cheerleaders do can be pretty incredible, but also quite dangerous. As it says, stunts involve lifting, maybe even lifting quite high off the ground over people's shoulders and many levels high, tossing or throwing, and when you throw something, it's nice if you catch that thing, especially if it's a person. So tossing and catching other cheerleaders in the air. So this is kind of like gymnastics. It also reminds me of like a circus performance or something like that too, right? So yeah, when you toss something, it's basically like throwing, but the difference would be tossing might be a little gentler. If it's a ball, if you throw the ball, you're probably throwing it, we would say, overarm. If you toss it, you're throwing it underarm. In baseball, they throw the ball to the guy who hits the ball. In softball, you might know with that bigger ball, you kind of toss it like that. Or if someone's close to you and they ask you to throw something to them, you might not really throw it with all your power. They could miss it, or it could hit them or hit the wall or something. So you might toss it to them gently. It's much easier to catch something like that. For example, could you toss me the eraser that is on that desk? If someone asked me that, I'd get the eraser, and then I would just gently throw it, much slower, much easier to catch. It's also nice to not throw people because it'll probably hurt them when they hit something. But if you toss that person, it might be easier for me to catch them if I'm strong.
Exactly. 那这类的特技通常包含了举来举去或是丢来丢去。Toss 这个动词指的是扔或者是抛。So when you toss something, you throw it with your hand. It's rather a gentle movement.
More gentle, yeah.
Toss 这个动作指的是比较随意的丢或者是抛。
My cat likes it when I toss him onto the sofa.
Really?
Yeah, I just gently do that. He flies and his tail wiggles around and then he jumps off and he runs back. And I would never throw my cat. That would be a terrible, terrible idea. And he would not like me. All right, so let's get back to chants and cheers as the next important element for cheerleaders. So we have the uniform, we have the pom-poms, we have the cool stunts and tricks. Now we need to hear something from these cheerleaders. Imagine if they just did it silently.
And
that would be really awkward and weird and we wouldn't know what to do. So that's why they have chants and cheers. This is basically things they do with their voices. They're not singing, but they're chanting. It says cheerleaders use these to encourage the team and get the crowd excited. Go, go, team, team, fight, fight, win. Tiger, tiger, yay!
Exactly.
And,
you can be a cheerleader.
I am a natural.
那再来，还有我们前一天也有提过的重复的叫唱或者是加油，也是啦啦队中的一个重点。
All right, chants are short, repeated phrases, while cheers are longer and more complex. Very, very interesting. Let's take a break here and talk about the word phrase. Okay, what is a phrase? Well, it's basically like a short sentence that has a lot of ideas or has a simple idea, and you can say it again and again. When we often think of companies and the way they advertise, just do it, or we are family, or something like that. That could be a phrase, right? And it could also just be something that passes on some good wisdom. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's a phrase we might have heard a lot, reminding us to eat fruit and things like that. So it's basically just a simple way of communicating a simple but powerful idea, and it will also probably be easy to remember. So once I hear it, I'll go, oh yeah, I understand what that means. It's a very common phrase. We hear it all the time. Here's an example you guys will be familiar with. Standing in front of the TV cameras, the politicians chanted a phrase while shaking their fists. We will make the country better, or we will not quit our jobs until we do, or whatever. They'll do something like that, and it just gives the idea to the people. We see them all saying it. We understand what they mean.
那 chant 和 cheers 的不同在于 chant 通常比较短，而且会是一个重复的句子。那 cheers 则是比较长、比较复杂的加油句。那另外看到 phrase 这个名词，指的是它这里是用的是一个固定的说法。那这边呢 ，a phrase is a short group of words with meanings and expression.
Exactly right. So we got the uniforms, we've got the pom-poms, we've got the stunts, we've got the cheers and chants. Now we all have to do it together, so we look organized. Another way of talking about doing things together so you are organized is teamwork. You are working as a team. Cheerleading is all about working as a team. Yeah, there's very few single solo cheerleaders.
Yeah.
That would just be sad. You know, one person, hey, everyone, cheer for the team.
Some players' girlfriend.
Yeah, it would just look not very good. So that's why they have to work together and they have to do things together. They have to practice together. They have to look like one unit, one machine, one living group of people. Cheerleaders work together to perform stunts safely, throwing, catching, cheering, doing all that stuff, create routines and support each other, right? Both by catching each other and lifting each other, but also by being there for each other like a team is.
那最后还有团队合作，啦啦队就是要大家团队合作，才有办法表演出各式各样的技能以及互相支持。Be all about something 指的就是完全就是最基本最重要的东西就是。那在这里课文的意思就是说，啦啦队最基本最重要的精神就是团队合作。
All right, in cheerleading, these elements, all the things we've talked about today, these elements come together to create an exciting show and a really good cheerleading squad or unit or team. Yeah.
那所以说，啦啦队活动就是以上这些我们所介绍的要素结合起来的一场演出。Come together 指的是组合起来、聚集。那如果不想要错过更多精彩的 English for You 的内容，就赶快订阅我们的 YouTube 频道，还有追踪我们的 Facebook 吧。
All right, our chat question, and we have the perfect person here to answer it. What do you think, and you have experience, what do you think is the most important quality for a cheerleader to have and why?
I think you have to trust people.
Trust people to catch you once they throw you.
Yeah.
Very good point. All right, what about you guys? What do you think is the most important quality for a cheerleader to have? We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Perform. Clarissa usually comes here to listen to the music, but tonight she'll perform a song herself. Routine. The actors spent weeks practicing a complex fighting routine for one of the most important scenes in the play. Element. There are pop art elements in this artist's style, but her work is still very special. Strength. To do this job, you need the strength to lift heavy things. Toss. My friend tossed me an orange when I asked if he had any snacks. Phrase. I'm dead is a phrase that is used to say you're laughing really hard at something.
智慧小补帖
Involve. Fluffy. Agility.